Howdy folks, my name is Hila and welcome to SV Codes. Today we're going to build a simple, responsive, mobile-friendly navbar using Flexbox and React. To begin with, let's create a React app and let's head to our terminal and let's run the following command npx. Well, actually let me go into my directory cd documents workspace and be here. Now, let's create our app. npx create a React app and we'll call it nav. Let's give this a few minutes to install and I'll be right back. Alrighty folks, our installation has been successful, thus we can proceed with creating our navbar. Now, let's cd right into our nav and let's go into our code. Bam. Now, let's do some cleanup. First of all, I'm going to delete app.test.js, logo, report, setup, and index.css. Those are just the files that I will not be using. Now that's out of the window. Now let's go into index. Let's do some cleanup here as well. Now we don't need index. This looks fine. Let's save this and let's go to app.js and to remove the logo, and let's delete everything here and let's do just fragmentation to begin with. Let's save this and let's do, once my terminal opens, npm start. Alrighty, as you can see we have an empty React app. Let's make it not empty by populating it and creating our components folder. Okay, let's call it components, if I spelled this correctly, and I did. Excellent. Now let's go and create another folder here, and I like the way I organize my code is by folders, and then I put files inside those folders, so I'll demonstrate. So inside the components we're going to have a folder called Navbar, and Navbar is going to have a file called main navbar, main navbar.js. We're also going to need a CSS file here, so let's just call it main navbar.css. Now let's do RFC, and so basically what this is, the way I type this, RFC stands for React Functional Components, and the plugin that I'm using for this to be possible is, I believe, is ES7 React Redux GraphQL. Let's simply go and put an H1 here and say I'm a nav, just to make sure that everything is operational. Leave this here. Let's go to app.js and let's do this main navbar. Let's save this. Let's see how the compiling works out for us. And alrighty guys, we are good. Let's start creating something more useful, I guess, now that everything is definitely operational. But before I proceed any further, let me go into app.css, delete everything from here and do start CSS. So I'm going to select every single thing in CSS and give it a margin of 0, a padding of 0. Also, we're going to use some ULs, so we'll give it a list style of type of none, and I think this is sufficient for now, but that's fine. We'll come back to this if it needs to be taken care of. Let's go back to main navbar and let's remove the divs here and use fragmentation. For those who aren't familiar with fragmentation is, it's basically a shorter way of not having extra divs in your application, because it's not semantically, I believe, correct with HTML to have unnecessary div when, for example, you have a header or something. But again, you should definitely look up more into this on your own time. Now let's go and create our header, and let's give it a class name of, let's see, what do we want to call it? We're going to call it just header. Very simple, very on point. And proceeding by, it's going to be a div with a class of a logo, and this is going to have an h1 of logo. We're not going to use any images here because that will just take way more time from this project. The next thing, we're going to have another div called toggle, because we're going to have a toggle that opens and closes the navbar on the mobile devices. Alright, this is set. Now let's go and create some UL called menu, and let's go and give an li times 3, and we're going to give it a class name of menu items. And this shorthand is Emmet, by the way, for those who aren't familiar. It's very simple, and it makes your life so much easier as a web developer to really, instead of copy pasting divs, you just say how many divs you want, what class names, etc., etc. Very handy tool. Now let's see what else I have here. Let's say this is going to be home, this is going to be about, and this is going to be a contact. Let me spell it correctly though. Now let me make sure everything is fine here. Compiled, and we're good. Alrighty folks, let me just kill the server for now because we need to install a new package called React Icons, and the way we install stuff is npm I React Icons. Alright, let's give it a few minutes, and let's go to a browser and find some icons. Alrighty, let's go to React Icons, and the icons that I'm going to be using are provided to us by box icons. And the way we import stuff is, yeah, let's give it a few minutes till this is installed. But for now, let's just search for icons. And the first icon I'm gonna get, where is this? Hold on. Finder. Alright, yeah. Menu. And that's not the menu I want. Excuse this. And this is the menu I want. So we'll just simply go here and say import from React Icons. And also the next thing we want to import, oh yeah, and by. And the next thing we want to get is the X, so it closes off. But now I need to find it. Yeah, here it is. Bam. Awesome. Alright, it seems like this is taking a little while to install, so I will be right back. Now, I see I made a typo here, and I didn't copy the by X, so let's just fix this quickly and say by X. Now, the next thing we need to also do is use state. Now let's go import it by using use state, and now we're good. Now let's go here, create a constant. The variable is going to be click, and the function name is going to be setClick. Alrighty, and by default, this is going to be false, and you'll see why in a second. Also, while we add this, let's go create a constant called handle click. Ah man, this is fun. Okay, now let's go here. This is going to be an arrow function, so let's do it neatly and say setClick. And we're basically, we're going to say reverse everything. So for example, if this is going to be false, the user clicks and this turns to true. But say the user clicks again, and this is true, this will convert into false, and vice versa, basically. Now let's go and deal with our toggle for now. The way we use React icons is very, very straightforward. Let me create a span here first. Alrighty, let's go here, and let's go give this a click. And if click is false, well, no, let's see. You'll see in a second what happens. Hold on. So the first thing we want is by X. What just happened? Oh yeah, by X, and then otherwise. So it's what happening here. It's forgot how they're called. Jesus. Basically, it's another way of doing if statements. I completely forgot how to do that. So what the name is. So doesn't matter at this point. But let's continue. Let's go and say by menu. And let's test this out and see what happens. Oh yeah, before we continue, let's go and do npm start, so our server starts. Alrighty, now let's test this out. Alright, obviously it does not work because I didn't initiate very important thing, which is our onClick. So let's fix that quickly and say onClick and handle click. Save this. And let's test it out again, and as you can see, this wonderful toggle button now, or icon, works. Boom. Cool. Now let's continue with our lives. Now we can start doing the fun stuff, the CSS. Honestly, some people hate it, some people love it, but it is what it is, so let's just put it that way. Now let's actually convert into mobile, because I like to build my applications by a mobile first approach rather than just build desktop and then scale down. It's a headache to scale down rather than scaling up. Now, okay, now we're all set here. We're going to use iPhone 6, iPhone 7, basically iOS 8 devices, iOS 11 devices for this. And let's proceed by first creating our header. And let's give it a display of flex. And obviously I forgot to import my CSS, which is fantastic. Let's continue. Jeez guys, this is just amazing. Now, main navbar.css. Alright, let's see if this beauty works. And yep, it works. Fantastic. Now, disregard how hideous this looks for the meantime, because it is hideous, but let's fix that actually by saying flex direction to column. Now we're back to the original state, which is actually quite useful for us, and we need it to be that way. Let's go back here and check out some stuff. So menu, let me see actually, hold on. We will improve this in a few seconds actually. Let's see what else. Let me also for now hide the menu on the mobile devices. So menu and display none. No, this is hidden, but as you can see, the menu is not shown when we click, and the way we fix that is by going back to main navbar, and instead of using just a static menu, we're going to make it more dynamic for ourselves by having click. So the way this works is if click true, I believe, we're going to have active. Yep, that's what it is. Alright, so let's go and say menu active. Otherwise we're going to have just menu, which is hidden from us. And let's see, and you'll see actually in a second. Let me demonstrate to you how this actually looks out in real life. Now if we click this, you can see how the Jesus, how do you pronounce this? Transition is smooth here. So when we have menu active, this is X, basically saying show the menu. Otherwise, it's just menu, which hide the menu. Let's display our menu for the moment. The way we're going to display it is by typing menu dot active and give it a display of block, and let's click and see what happens. Bam, our menu has appeared, and if we close it, it's hidden, shown, hidden, shown, hidden. Okay, now this is amusing, honestly, and excuse my notifications. Now, alright, I'm back. Okay, let's see. Now let's give this some margin and padding to make it look more presentable. Alrighty, let's see. So we have a logo, that logo, and give it a margin. For top and bottom, we'll give it a 10 pixel by 10 pixel. Yep, great. Looks much more pleasant for the eyes. Also, guys, I'm not using like REMs, but I think I should. So let me just quickly go back to app.css and put here for font size, where we'll give this a 62.5%. And this is like a whole mathematical reasoning behind why it's exactly 62.5%, because I don't really know, just I know that it is, so it's not just a random number I came up from the top of my head. There's like actual reason to it. Alright, let's go back here, and now instead of using pixels, let's just use RMs, because we're trying to build a mobile friendly website after all, so instead of pixels, let's just make it more nicer for ourselves. Let's give it a 2 RM font size of 2 RM. See how this looks. Yep, much better. Oh, kind of small for now, but yeah, I'll change the font in a bit. Also, let's give our toggle some font size because it disappeared, fellas. Let's take care of this font size, 3 RM. We'll probably make it bigger because it just looks way too tiny. Alright, let's give it a 5 RM. And let's give this actually a display of, what do you want to give it? Hold on. Not display, but position relative. And this is going to be position absolute. Okay, let's continue with giving a top of 0 and a right of 0. Margin, well, actually a margin of right, and give it a 0.5 rem under. Much better, much better. Alright, now let's just give our menu some font size because it has disappeared completely off the face of the earth. And let's try with 3 RM and we'll play from there. Alright, looks decent. Let's just say it like that. Let's text align center, much better, and let's give our LIs that well, actually what are they called? Menu items. Menu, Jesus Christ, Eli, why not spell? Menu items, and we're going to give it a padding of 0.5 OM for top and bottom and nothing on the sides. Alrighty, now I'm not a big fan of this font personally, so let's go get my favorite font from Google Fonts, and the font we're going to be using is called Poppins, and we're going to get a few of the what do you call them, styles. We're going to get 300, we're going to get 400, and we're going to get the bold. Alright, let's go and get the import. Copy the import, and we're going to actually place this import at app.css, and we're going to put it right on the very top of our import. Now let's save this file and head back to our main Navbar CSS file, and let's give everything a font family now. Let's try giving a font family, and let's go get this, copy. Oh, let's do it this way. Copy, paste, and save, and much better, isn't it, guys? Much better. Alright, excellent. So the menu for the mobile part is done, but I think it would be more pleasant if we were to add a background color. And I'm gonna go with the color black. And let's make sure we give a color to everything of white, otherwise we will not see jack. Alrighty, and yep, this looks much better. Alrighty, one more time. Much better. Let's save this, and now let's go back to our desktop mode and see how things look here. Now obviously this is not what we want, so let's fix that first and foremost. Let's go and create a media query, and hold on, media screen, and the size we're going to work with is min width of 1024 pixels. Oh wait, I put aux. Jesus. Alright, pixels, and let's see what else we're gonna do here. Okay, so let's start with the header and give it a flex direction of row. Let's test it out and see what happens. Alright, you see what happens. It looks, now it's here, so let's fix that now by going to that menu and giving our menu a display of flex, font size of 3 Yep, here's a wonderful menu. Now let's go and hide our toggle, and we're going to do this by toggle and give it a display of none so it doesn't bother us. Now let's go and improvise here slightly. Let's go to that logo and give a logo a width 30%, and then we're going to give our menu a width of 70%, and let's see how this all works out. Excellent. Now let's go and say justify content to center, and text, oh wait, no, align items to center as well. Now everything looks much more better here. And for the menu, we're going to do justify content to the left, wait, no, to the right, and bam, now we have kind of a menu. Let's make it more appealing now that it's all clutched into the right side. And before I give actually this a margin of right, let me go and give every single menu item some kind of padding to make it less clutched together. And the way we do this is by saying menu items and then giving everything a padding of nothing for top, but then 3 for left and right, and this looks modestly more decent. But I think it's a little bit too much space, so let's try this. Yeah, that looks much better. And let's give our last child some more padding. Last child, and let's do a padding of right, and we'll give it a up to 5 OM, and that looks much better. Alrighty guys, now let's make sure everything is functional and see how things work out for us. Let's go here. Here's the menu for the mobile, which works fantastically. And if we were to go up in size, we get our menu for the desktop. Well guys, I hope this tutorial was very helpful for you, and I will be making more tutorials on how to use React with a bunch of different tools, and how to build full websites with React, and how to use Next.js in a few tutorials in fact. So I hope this was again helpful and you learned something. Thank you and see you soon. Bye bye.